We are here. We're back again. This is day 5 of our 100 days of community. And you are here live with me, Desiree B. Stevens. And I am super excited because so many of you have been showing up in such a major way for this. And the feedback that I have been getting from this series, good morning, has been absolutely amazing. And it just warms my heart because I've been preaching this message for years. And like I shared on my TikTok, I was like, oh, I was doing this backwards, right? Like I'm telling people, you need to decolonize, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they're like, okay, but what's the purpose, right? If people don't have this end result idea, they don't know. And I'm like, well, you got to be in community. Like, how can you be in community if you don't do these things? So this structure, good morning, Janine, has just made it like hit home. It's been an aha moment for me and for others is when I start with the end, right? This 100 days is about the things that it takes to be in community within yourself, home, and your broader community. This is creating that space, that learning how to actually be together, right? Like, how do we move? Yesterday, we talked about how to move through conflict, internal. Today, let me see what my day 5. Sorry, somebody keeps calling me and I keep ignoring it. And I don't know if it's messed up my sound. Is it messing up my sound? Can you still hear me? Um, can you still hear me? I just want to make sure. Somebody let me know, Vix, if you could let me know if you could still hear me. Because sometimes when a call comes, it cuts your sound. That would be brilliant. Yes. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. So today is day 5. And what we are going to be talking about is recognizing internalized oppression in ourselves. It's big, right? Right? We've all heard of it. We all know it. If you are by a recognized, marginalized group, we know as Black people, we have anti-Blackness, right? All of these things. Jewish people have anti-Jewishness. It is intended to be like that because systems of supremacy want to force a monolith and they would love assimilation. And for us, who have melanin and stuff like that, we can't assimilate. So it manifests in a lot of anti-Black or anti-insert marginalized identity. And for white body people, it comes up in, that imposter syndrome and I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough. And that also comes from the supremacy culture that impacts you. Again, supremacy culture is an abuse cycle that has to happen here before it trickles out to here. So all of these things, all of the stuff that we talk about in regard to ourselves as Black people, we're surviving white supremacy, the code switching, the hair dress, all of that came from you guys. You couldn't sound like you were country, right? Because there's that country bumpkin, ill-educated, that transatlantic posh accents. It's really much of a WASP culture that white people try to continually mimic, which is trying to mimic the monarchy, right? Like the wealth of those people that came over here and created this system. So those things were imposed, right? There was a time where it was popular for Jewish girls to get nose jobs. How terrible is that, right? To look more anglicized. The beauty standard here is not a European beauty standard. Have people seen Europeans? They look different, vastly different. Hair color, textures, features, all of that. But because of the forced assimilation and the monolith that white supremacy created by forcing more white bodies and forcing that assimilation, you wouldn't think so. The truth of the matter is that standard is an Aryan beauty standard, right? Like when you think of Hitler and his view of what it to be, which was wild to me because he didn't look anything like it, but that platinum blonde, blue eyes, very narrow features, thin bodies, that is that standard. So you will see that internalized oppression as a white body person coming up, right? Not pretty enough, not blonde enough. There was that whole huge, every white woman in the world needed to be bleach blonde, big tits, blue eyes, right? Like it was like wow, the Stepford wife sort of thing, the continuously being in competition with each other, right? Because there's only room for one. So you all look alike, act alike, and that is the monolith that is created through supremacy culture. And that is the way that internalized oppression manifests itself inside of white bodies. And then very specifically, white women. I know you guys hear us constantly talking about, white feminism or how white women are like a bigger issue for us than white men. It's because we don't have to engage with white men outside of many spaces. White women are parents to the other children in our schools. White women are the social change. They are the social thermometers of what's going on inside of whiteness. Good morning, Sabrina. So if you have no power here, and I keep doing this because for years I've been talking about my XY axis of oppression. I'm gonna put that out there. I'm gonna draw it up and put it out there. But if you exist here somewhere along these hierarchies, you as a white woman have no power. None, right? You're talking, nobody's listening. And that's an internal issue. That's an intracommunal issue that needs to be dismantled through patriarchy. But what happens is you have power over all these people over here. So you come out of there and you oppress us. So you set the stage for what's socially acceptable, how I should dress, how I should talk, how I should walk, how my kids should act, this, that, and the other thing. But that manifests from the internal separation and the internal oppression that's happening. So that's what day 5 is about. And when I talk about these things, I try to give you guys 3 takeaways, which is then repeated in the article. So hold on now, I'm scrolling through my documents. Come on, Google Docs. Recognizing internalized oppression in ourselves. 3 takeaways. Internalized oppression is learned, not innate. Okay. 2, awareness is the first step to liberation. 3, liberation is a collective process. Back to community. Can't do this alone. You will see how it always ties back to community. We cannot do this alone. Like I could not, I could sit here and talk to myself, right? I could sit here, talk to myself, and that'd be fine. It probably wouldn't be as exciting or fulfilling, right, for me, because like, why am I just talking to myself? I'm talking to you guys. It's great. I get feedback. You guys are commenting. You leave comments on, the videos. You email me. That is reciprocal energy. That is communal shift. That is communal awareness, action, transformation, etc., etc. So let's go to talking point 1. Internalized oppression is learned, not innate. Supremacy culture conditions us to internalize its message about worth, success, and power. These messages teach marginalized groups to devalue themselves by reinforcing privilege for dominant groups. So what happens with that is like this weird juxtaposition, right? Like I tell white people, I'm like, you need us to be this disenfranchised, marginalized group because it makes you not have to work on what's going on here, right? Like you're not dealing with the violence of whiteness that's happening inside of here. You're not dealing with the oppression that you guys have faced, the colonization that you have faced and have been colonized, because it's easier to look out here and think you're going to fix and save something, then look inside and do that work. And that's what Season of Self is about, is doing the internal work. And that's how you're going to be in community, right? Because you can't just show up and thinking I'm going to come join community because I'm here to save it and make it safe. No, fam, you make it more dangerous because you refuse to deal with that shadow work of collective liberation and your own internalized thoughts. So by the fact that it's learned and it's not innate, I'm going to give an example. You guys know I love a personal example. Yesterday, my 5-year-old, who we call Shady Baby, but she is named after the Celtic goddess, the Morrigan, and she is sovereign as fuck like her. She wears her hair. She has now, all my kids have natural hair. They were all locked up, but Morgan decided she wanted to cut them. Now, Morgan has this beautiful afro. You can go see the picture on my Instagram, same name all over the web, right? Now, she has not my hair. Like it's just, none of them do, right? I'm not mine. Morgan and Kieran are probably about my complexion. Erin is a little bit darker. But there is a learned thing that happens about her hair versus my hair, right? Because I'm going to benefit from texturism, colorism, and everything inside of those things, right? Yes, Ria, I am live. So That being said, it was about me pouring into her. Your hair looks amazing, girl. Like, let's put a bow on it. Look, you got big hair like mommy, you know. I don't focus on curl definition for her. I want her to love the hair that's coming out of her head. But that internalized anti-blackness and this softer curl pattern that I have, or softer texture, because it's closer to white and draws a closer proximity to whiteness, is something that is learned. It is not innate because she naturally loves it, right? Her hair was like, girl, you couldn't tell Shady Baby nothing about her hair. And even when you are trying your best, right? And this is why community needs to be. Yes, Liz, sovereign as fuck. I love it for her. Hold you so close, right? Because we are a militantly Black family. Like, we super love Black people, love all things Black. We have a very mixed group of people. They go to a school that is predominantly Black, even the leadership. And still, this is somewhere in her head to question, does her hair look good? And that's because we don't have the influence over being online, what you hear in conversation, what we say randomly, right? That I can show you in my own life how many times people will come up and compliment the boy child, and he's my only blonde kid, but don't see these other two. Right? These are little interesting small ways that our own internalized oppression will be how we teach the others and children and just in our own language, right? So recognizing those things, that this is learned behavior, means it could be unlearned, right? You can feel it, you could say it, you could do the thing and check yourself like, oh, wow, that was wrong. Let me back that up. Take accountability. I shouldn't have said that. Let me say this in a different way. And you keep on practicing it. Good morning. Point two, because I'm really trying to do these micro lessons in 30 minutes because I don't want this to feel like a drone on, right? I want it to feel invigorating and hopeful and like, yes, look at these little gems that I could take into my day and carry on. And I appreciate you guys being here on a weekend. Thank you so much. Two, awareness is the first step to liberation. Recognizing the ways we've internalized oppressive systems, I was kind of touching on that, allows us to disrupt their influence. Awareness brings us closer to unlearning the lies we've been told about others and ourselves. And this work requires gentleness, compassion for ourselves, because we're going to be uncovering patterns of oppression. And that's trauma work. When I first began talking about this on TikTok, I went viral for saying white people need ancestral healing, right? Like, to sit down and go through the annals of time within your own body, within your own threads of history, and do the healing work, because epigenetic trauma is real. And you can't descend from people that cause so much harm and were harmed by those people. Because what we tend to forget is white people did this to white people first, right? Like, that's how this all began, and think that you don't need a healing or you can help someone else, right? So with that awareness comes that deeper, like, oh my God. Because white people, I joke around, I'm like, y'all think y'all are new every generation. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. You're not new. Like, we are who we are. We are products of our environment, products of, our parents, products of the time, the region, just products, right? Like, that are continually being regenerated. So we get the opportunity to say, oh no, my eldest, I shared with you guys, she really set me onto this journey because I am Gen X. And let me give you some. Gen X, born and raised in the South Bronx, impoverished, poor Irish, like a lot of mixed things. The things that I said out of my own mouth that I did not think was wrong would astound you as I'm sitting here today, right? And I share those things because I think that it's helpful, right? I don't think that you should not be transparent when you're trying to guide, teach, educate other people, right? Hi, Michelle. I, here's the truth, and I'm sorry, this is surely going to offend somebody. I literally thought that Polak was the word for Polish people. Had no idea that they were called Poles, but that's what I always heard in my home, in my neighborhood, in my town. I mean, You don't know what you don't know. So that is the way that I approach this, right? Is like when you realize that, when you get this new information, you get, right? See, Laura, and Laura's from my part of town. She's from where I'm from, right? Like, well, she's from Connecticut. I'm from the Bronx. But that region is a part of that culture, that style. So you can't ignore that all of these things are happening. Lisa says we are not new. I totally lost that, Lisa. We are not new. Ancestral healing is so hard. There is no bypassing. There is absolutely none. There is absolutely none without that awareness, that awakening, that reckoning, and sitting down and dealing with that. And coming to those terms with it, right? I see all the magic and the spiritual bypassing, and you can't do that. You just cannot bypass the processes, the steps, right? Especially if you want liberation. And we could bullshit our way to a couple different laws, a couple different this, that, and the third, but it's not going to make a huge shift. So that is that part of like awareness is the first step to liberation, right? Being aware that, hey, I don't know all the things. When I receive some new information, I'm going to take a moment, sit with that, internalize it, and then pay attention to when it comes up. Did that sound like a right thing to say? Or what was a thought? Right? Like, what thought did you have when you grab your purse when you see somebody? Why? Quickly, quickly. Do you actually believe that? And instead of taking time to try to convince us you don't, because we do not care, convince yourself that you don't. And ask yourself, why did you react in such a way, right? Getting curious. Again, this is a theme of 2025. Listen to me. Get curious with yourself, with your reactions, with your thoughts, with your feelings. This is going to bring your awareness. This is going to allow you to sit down and be like, oh shit, integrate and do the work. Point 3, liberation is a collective process. Isn't that beautiful? Healing from internalized oppression is not just about individual work. It's about connecting with others who can support us in reclaiming our power. Community accountability and care are essential in this process. Liberation begins with unlearning oppressive beliefs, but it flourishes when we collectively build systems that affirm our inherent worth. I love therapy, right? My goal in life when I was a kid was to be some type of a therapist. Right? I was like, I'm going to study people and figure out how they work. I'm like a sociologist at heart. Like, love online, love all of these things, right? Then I realized you couldn't tell people what to do as a therapist. And I was like, oh no, can't be my route. Let me figure this out. Let me do counseling, coaching, something else, right? So I went with pastoral counseling. Now, what I have found the most effective in my life in doing and receiving has been group, right? Like one to many. When you think of, recovery spaces, right? Addictive services, they're all, you like that, Melissa, right? Yeah, I need to be able to tell you what to do. I'm not about to sit there for 5 years and I figured that shit out on week 1. We're not doing this, me and you. I'm telling you, and then I'm gonna tell you, go get a therapist to sit with them for the next 5 years and unpack it. But what I find is the most work has always been communal, right? We have um, we have a culture of therapy that is like one to one, which I think is very valuable. And I have a therapist, my kids have a therapist. I don't think I have many friends that are not in the mental health field in one capacity or another. However, I think it should be combined with, right? Like as in tandem with group spaces, right? Like, oh shit, I just did this in therapy. What happened with you? Did you do this or what have you? Maisha T. Hill, Heal Your Way Forward, Check Your Privilege on Instagram is great about this. Her whole community is about the addiction to whiteness. I don't align with it as an addiction, and only because this idea is very real. The only reason why I don't align with it as an addiction is because I don't believe there's any amends to be made. I think we just need to build something new. But all of the other characteristics are there. And if you need that level of support, I would highly recommend finding her. And when you catch this replay, I will tag all of her information. her book and everything. She's absolutely brilliant, and we align in many, many things. I really respect her. That being said, I also have collective spaces. I have 3 Facebook groups. So I'll put all of that stuff in there. But we need the communal healing, right? And I can bring it down smaller because I really try to do, like I say, macro, micro, and everything begins internally with self, right? Are you in community with yourself? Right? Can you sit with yourself and commune? Can you sit and talk to you? Yes, talk to me because I like expert advice. You see, I think I'm funny. Like, I don't really need much company. No, but seriously, can you commune with yourself, right? Can you sit down? Can you get into those places and spaces and be like, what's going on? What's in my body? What's showing up? That's your first communion, right? And then in your own family, right? I have 3 kids that are awake right now. I'm shocked that they have not really disturbed. They walk by. But hey guys, this is what I need. I'm about to be live. Da 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 da. Let me meet your needs, right? So I got a 2.5-year-old there. And I'm like, here, buddy. He came and ate first because, he's going to starve to death if he doesn't eat. So he ate with me before I got on, put him in the room. You go play with your cars. The 8-year-old woke up. He heated up his wings from yesterday. I need y'all not to be in there. The 5-year-old is like, I'll eat later, but I need you to put on Netflix. Great. That's community. That's even the healing thing, right? Because I'm stating my needs and they're being met by my children, and their needs are being met by me. And when there is harm that happens in the house, I do the same thing. We sit down and we talk about it collectively, and we heal collectively. Some of you know we're in year 2 of the separation. We talk about everything, right? Where my feelings are as the wife, as now the solo parent, where their feelings are as the child, how they feel about me making the choice. That needs to happen in community. And that starts within self and within your own home. You can't be like, oh, I heard Des and she said we need to heal in community and you're going to talk to me. I didn't say that. I did not say that. I'm saying we start where you are. Be gentle with yourself. The sense of urgency within those 15 pillars of supremacy culture kicks your ass. And the truth of the matter is we're still here. Hundreds of years, thousands of years later, you are still a part of a lineage that suffered under oppression, that pushed through, right? I'll give you an example of, again, I use myself because I think that that's important. So you know that I really did the work. I am obviously a Black woman. This is obvious because that's how race works. Phenotype, hair, complexion, etc., etc. My mom's Irish, first generation. I grew up being Irish and Black. When people ask me what I was, because in the Bronx, I'm Puerto Rican. Everybody thinks I'm a Puerto Rican. If you know Puerto Ricans, most people think I'm Puerto Rican. And I'm like, no. So my whole entire life, I had to always say, no, I'm Irish and Black. I'm Irish and Black. I'm Irish and Black. And I never, because there's no such thing as biracial. That shit is weird. You cannot be white and Black. Get that shit out of your head. Yeah, because that's not how race works. And race is a system, and it's a system of oppression. You cannot be both. But my ethnicity was being Irish. My race was being Black. Oh, somebody shared something. Hold on. Meg, I'm trying to work on ancestral healing. Also have Bronx Irish Catholic. Hey, what part? I was baptized in St. Brendan's. I'm starting with some reading. Just picked up, I'm sorry, it doesn't fully. Threatening Women, A Cultural History of Why Ireland Shamed and Contained Women. Fucking A, I support that. Deeply, right? So, but now back to my whole point of like who you are and how you carry forth and to give you some hope, right? So I am huge on saying I'm Irish, and it's not to separate myself from my Blackness because I love my Blackness deeply. And much more so as I got older, moved to the South and grew a different appreciation because I was not raised in Black culture like that, right? I was in New York City, but I was raised in Bronx Irish Catholic culture. Me stating that is not a slight to my Black folks. Like, oh no, I'm not Black like y'all. I'm a different kind of Black. It is literally a reclamation, because if it were up to the Brits, Irish people wouldn't exist. Right? We're seeing that now. You're seeing the ancestors of those people that literally ravaged through Europe, erasing people's entire identities, cultures, lineages, like the book that Meg said, right? There is a saying, and I'll put it in my book, in Ireland. It says, "We ourselves." And it was during that invasion. Ireland has been trying to be colonized, and still is right now in the north, for like 800 years. But we ourselves. Only we can name who we are. Only we can tell you who I am. So when I say I'm Irish, and I make sure my children say they're Irish, and my children have Irish names, and they know that, it's because they know that they come from a line of people that are still here, that are still here today, still fighting, still pushing, and oppression aside, and all of the bullshit. Now add to that, we're Black. Oh, this shit is lit. You can't tell me nothing. Nothing. I have all the hope in the world and all the fight in me. And that is what comes from Happy Saturday to you. That is what comes from being so deeply rooted in who you are ancestrally. Knowing your people, knowing their stories, healing in community, being held in that sort of way is going to make all of the difference. Systems of whiteness tell you you're an individual. And you guys feel like that, right? Like, I'm the good white person. They're bad. I want to leave you with this final word that I do. And it's going to hit you because it's going to be disorienting. There are no good white people. What I want that to do is liberate you. I'm going to say it again. There are no good white people because the system doesn't allow that. Every single white person is being weaponized by those who have the power to control the narrative to be dangerous to the global majority globally. There are no good white people. Allow that to liberate you so you don't have to do any more performing and just do the work. Just do the work. Just show up continuously, do the work. Unpack it, let it go, come into community. We can honestly do this. We really, really can. And it's going to take building parallel systems within these fucked up systems. Like, that's it. And in order to do that, in order to truthfully be in community, you have to do the work and do the steps so you can become safe. Okay? So, that is my word for Saturday, and we made it from 9:30 to 10. I'm going to recap my 3 talking points. 1, internalized oppression is learned, not innate. 2, awareness is the first step to liberation. 3, liberation is a collective process. Thank you for receiving that, Mary. Right? Thank you. And message me. Right? I'm super available. I really like to be accessible because it's gonna activate some things, right? And for some people it feels free. I say it in all my workshops, and like sometimes people leave that like that feels good. And I'm like, good. Because that's just the reality. And that's an unfortunate reality. And I usually give an example, and I'm going to go over time. My example is this: my mother was in a wheelchair, right? So let's put on our unconscious bias hats. My mom was in a wheelchair. Let's say I'm putting my mom into a car. Love you too, Lisa. I'm putting my mom into a car. My mom falls. I'm struggling to try to get her in there, right? So now I'm wrestling with this woman. My mom had lost her leg in a car accident. I'm wrestling with this woman. When you walk by and you see me wrestling that woman into a car, do you think that's my mother that fell? Are you coming over to help me? And answer it honestly. Or are you assuming the worst? Because when you're talking about binaries, either or, and we talk about white privilege, then the opposite of that is not that, right? White privilege is the benefit of the doubt. The opposite of that is assume the worst. So now you have me trying to help my mother, and now I have a potentially dangerous situation just trying to help my mom. She's become dangerous to me simply because she exists in a system in a white body that is a white supremacist one. Now, my father is unambiguously Black, beautiful, 4C hair, dark skin, big nose, big lips, gorgeous, original Black man. Imagine him doing it. That much worse. And that's how you're going to learn colorism. And that'll be another lesson. But thank you again for joining us. This is honestly giving me life. So I will be back tomorrow on Sunday at 9:30. We will be, let me go to my notes. Day 6 is naming and addressing privilege in community. I love this one. Okay. You are so welcome, Melissa. I hope to see you tomorrow. Reminder, 10 days open, free to everybody. Day 11 closes down to paid subscribers, 20% off of the 80-year subscription. If you cannot do that, do not hesitate to call me. Well, I say call me. Call me. Email me, scholarships@DesireeBStevens.com. It's no questions asked. You just say, hey, I can't afford it. Okay. I'm going to trust you. Know your finances better than I do. So you'll get comped for the year. So you don't have to worry about it. Thank you guys. I love you. And I swear to God, I mean it. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.